for a fact I'm not gonna finish this book today because section 2, chapter 2 took me a whole hour, and this section 3 is probably gonna take me 2 hours because it's even longer. It goes all the way to page 68, and I'm on page 41. So, well, we have nowhere to go, and time is moving pretty fast today. I went running about like 12 miles today, I think, and so it's already like 12. Yesterday, by the time it was 12, I went running uphill. Actually, maybe it was like around 1 o'clock, because at 12 I drove to the Dollar Tree. I don't think I went to the library. I just went to like go get gas, went to the Dollar Tree, then I came back like around 1 to go for my run, and it's already 12. So I really want to share this book with my dad and the pastor at the church, so he could kind of know how to spend the money, you know, not spend the money, but make the church have that at-home business, you know, but have it be a corporation. And I want to encourage some young people who have young businesses that I know. I rewatched the intro today because actually on my phone, the intro to these books, it didn't upload. It was like the longest video I had to upload yesterday. It was the last one that I decided to want to upload out of like 30 videos that I uploaded yesterday. And the intro to this book, you roll the window up, doggy. And the intro to this book, I was able to read it today because I was like, is this part of a video of a book I just finished and I finished uploading yesterday? Or is this part of the book that I'm currently reading, the financial book? And it just so happens to be the intro to the financial book I was reading, which is this one, Inc. and Grow Rich, Incorporate and Grow Rich. So yeah, like you know, so it's a great book to read, great knowledge to know, to pass down to your family, man. So the book's pretty dope. But I don't want to get too stoned, but we're on chapter 3, Simple Steps to Tax Savings, by Diane Kennedy, CPA, certified playa assistant. Let's play. Certified practicing accountant. Anyway, her name's Diane Kennedy. She's a CPA. Chapter 3, Simple Steps to Tax Savings. Let's start with a little quote. Nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power. Abraham Lincoln. So here's the 3 points before what we're gonna learn. How you can use the golden tax secrets to your advantage. Golden tax secrets to your advantage. Application of golden tax secrets to specific business situations, or the way people have used them. Application of golden tax secrets to specific business situations. Advantages of fiscal year-end planning. I love when we start off with case studies. Case study 4, also known as parables, also known as stories, real examples. Case study 4, Diane, lost and found. Deductions, that is. I had a tough decision to make when I started my own CPA firm. Oh, she's talking about herself. On one hand, I was well positioned to take a risk, and a great opportunity had emerged to buy a small practice, also actually buy her own a firm. But on the other hand, I would have to give up a very well-paying job as chief financial officer, CFO, of a large development company. No matter how I ran the numbers, I calculated it would take at least 5 years before I could hope to make the amount of money that I was currently making. I could hope to make the amount of money that I was currently making. Plus, I currently had the security of someone else paying the bills and didn't worry whether there would be enough money to pay myself. Okay, so no matter how I ran the numbers, I calculated it would take at least 5 years before I could hope to make the amount of money that I was currently making. So she had a tough decision to make when I started my own CPA firm. On one hand, I was well positioned to take a risk, and great opportunity had emerged to buy a small practice. She was well positioned to take the risk, so it was low risk. She said she was well positioned to take it, so she must have known her chances were good. So she must have asked people for help and stuff. And a great opportunity had emerged to buy a small practice. But on the other hand, I would have to give up a very well-paying job as CFO, Chief Financial Officer of a large developing company. Somebody pulled up. Hopefully they don't smell the weed, but no, they're minding their own business. No matter how I ran the numbers, I calculated it would take at least 5 years before I could hope to make the amount of money that I was currently making. So she's saying, like, I would be making the steady income working for somebody, being a CFO of a large development company. So if she were to start her own thing, it would take at least 5 years before she could hope to make the money she was making, that she would make next week, Plus, I currently had the security. Plus, I had the security of someone else paying the bills. But I don't get it. And didn't worry whether there would be enough money to pay myself. So that's a big help. You know what I'm saying? Plus, I currently had the security of someone else paying the bills and didn't worry whether there'd be enough to pay myself. Since she had someone that would help her start, it's kind of like a help to start a company, After much soul searching, I took the plunge anyway. The first year my tax return showed total legitimately an income of less than half of what I had earned working for others. After much soul searching, I took the plunge anyway. The first year my tax return showed totally legitimately an income of less. So the first year her tax return showed, because right here, when people write and then they'll leave like in quotations, they'll say something and then the sentence continues. Sometimes it sounds kind of funny, so you have to like kind of skip that quotation to continue the sentence on. So if I read it, it's the first year my tax return showed, and in quotations, totally legitimately, but I want to read it the whole sentence straight through so you understand. The first year my tax return showed, after she took the chance to start her own business, the first year of starting her own business, the first year my tax return showed an income of less than half of what I had earned working for others. Yet my lifestyle had not significantly changed. That was because many of the lifestyle expenditures I had, travel, magazines, better computers, can now be written off. Incidentally, by the end of the third year, I had reached taxable income equal to what I had previously made. So back in taxes, like she's getting paid a lot more back in taxes, By the end of the year, I had reached taxable income equal to what I had previously made. By the end of the third year, incidentally, I had reached taxable income equal to what I had previously made. She had reached taxable income to what she had previously made. My disposable income was double the taxable amount. Now I invest much of that extra income in tax savings. I want to help you do the same. My disposable income, what's the disposable income? My disposable income was double the taxable amount. It's always good to ask questions, so I'm asking you guys. My disposable income was double the taxable amount. Okay, the income that's not being, just her income in general, is double the taxable amount. So she's like, I'm spending all this money and I'm not even getting taxed very little from it because everything's getting written off. Now I invest much of that extra income in tax savings. I want to help you do the same. Nearly all men can, I'm reading the quote again, I don't know what pulled me to it. Nearly all men can stand adversity. But if you want to test a man's character, give him power. Abraham Lincoln. Key points. Remain mindful and use the 7 secrets of success. Remain mindful and use the 7 secrets of success. Become familiar with tax codes that can reduce your taxes. Apply the golden tax secrets to your advantage in tax situation. Apply the tax codes to your advantage from your home-based business. You gotta remember these words. Home-based business. Apply the tax codes to your advantage. Apply the tax codes. They're the golden tax secrets. Apply the tax codes to your advantage from your home-based business. Apply the tax codes to your advantage from your storefront business. Consider multiple corporate strategies. Avoid tax traps, including those related to a personal holding company and a personal service company. A personal holding company, meaning like a stock or bond or something. Avoid tax traps, including those related to a personal. So we gotta remember, what's a tax trap? Does it have anything to do with human behavior? Is a human trying to get me in that trap? Do they know something I don't know? Avoid tax traps, including those related to a personal holding company, like a corporate minute book. Is that a holding? It's like a holding company, and a personal service company, like a construction company, service company, repair, selling goods. Okay, now we are on the 7 secrets of success. Use your corporate advantage. Use the advantage that are given to you for having a corporation. That's what that means. Use your corporate advantage. The most often asked question by a new business owner is, what's deductible? This question is probably the hardest question for a CPA to answer completely. The answer is actually that it depends entirely on you and the way you run your business. Basically, anything that promotes your business is a deduction. Anything that promotes your business is a deduction. There's even like probably marketing deductions, huh? It is necessary for the new business owner to shift his or her entire way of thinking. It is necessary for the new business owner to shift his or her entire way of thinking, so that you look for ways to create deductions. You look for ways. Study the following secrets. Study the following secrets of success. Number 1, secret of success. Find items that provide benefits for you without tax and are still deductible for the corporation. Find items that provide benefits for you without tax and still are deductible for the corporation. Give me examples. Some IEs. This will minimize your overall tax. The following information will walk you through typical expenses that a business may have. Many of these can be provided to you as an employee of the corporation without tax to you, and yet still provide a deduction for the company. So you'll still get money back even though you didn't pay nothing, no taxes for it. Number 2, secret of success. So the first one is find items that provide benefits for you without tax and still are deductible for the corporation. And I think they're talking about, like, the more you divulge into something, you're going to see it. You're going to create opportunities, you know? You're going to find items for your corporation that provide benefits for your corporation without tax and still are deductible for the corporation. This will minimize your overall taxes. The following information will walk you through typical expenses that a business may have. Okay, number 2, look for ways to make your normal expenses deductible. Number 2, secrets of success. Look for ways to make your normal expenses deductible. It's like always work, baby. If I'm gonna eat, I'm taking lunch, I've been at work. What do you usually spend your money on? Do you invest a lot on computers and programs like I do? Or do you like to entertain? Maybe you like to travel. First, identify where your income goes now. And then find a way to make it deductible for your business. So find a way to make it deductible for your business. First, identify where your income goes now. For example, the computers and software are an easy-to-prove deduction for more businesses these days. So, the computers and software are an easy-to-prove deduction. When you travel, find a business purpose for the travel. If you entertain, invite prospective clients, employees or vendors with whom you deal, then write it off. What does write it off mean? Get a letter from them or something? So look for ways to make your normal expenses deductible. That doesn't even sound like a secret. It sounds like all you got to do is remember that you went somewhere and spent this amount of money. You say, hey, this is what we did over there. We're going to go learn about this to make our business better. You know? I fucking sell antiques. You know where I went? I went to Spain to go fucking study their architecture over there. I'm an architect. Number 3, secret of success. Use the fiscal year-end option that is special. Use the fiscal year-end option that is special for corporations. Use the fiscal year-end option that is special for corporations. You can easily defer taxes for over 11 months, perfectly legally. You can defer taxes for over 11 months. Use the fiscal year-end option. And she says that is special for corporations. You can easily defer taxes for over 11 months, perfectly legally. We will discuss later in this chapter how this unique benefit of corporations can help you. For now, realize that you can choose any year-end you wish for the corporation, and that the standard default of December 31 is generally the worst possible choice. Also, I could say, hey, my year ends on fucking... My year end is in September. And that the standard default of December 31 is generally the worst possible choice. Because money's being spent. Or maybe, I don't know why. Maybe she'll talk about it later. Number 4, secret of success. Establish a good accounting system to make sure you get all the deductions that should be coming to you. Yes, establish a good accounting system to make sure you get all of the deductions that should be coming to you. Section 6 will walk you through setting up an accounting system and tell you what you should know before purchasing software. Number 5, secret of success. Document. Make sure you can keep all your corporate advantages by having good corporate records. Make sure you keep. You don't get no fraud. So you have to document. Make sure you can keep all your corporate advantages by having good corporate records. Section 6 will help you set up a filing system and alert you to potential pitfalls if the IRS comes looking for receipts. The system that I outline is easy to use and should serve your management needs. It should serve your management needs as well as provide the data in case of an IRS audit. Number 6, secret of success. Make use of the lowest tax rates at both the individual and corporate levels. Make use of the lowest tax rates at both the individual and corporate levels. As part of your annual business physical, you will look at the projected income both for you and your corporation. As part of your annual business physical, like checkup, like business, to see how your business is doing, right? You will look at the projected income both for you and for your corporation. The information I give you will help you maximize. The lowest rates for both tax-paying units. She's gonna help me. She's gonna help me make use of my lowest tax rates as an individual and being a corporation. You as an individual and your corporation. Number 7, secret of success. Become familiar with the character of income. Become familiar with the characters of income. types of incomes. Number 7, secret of success. Become familiar with the character of income. It's beautiful. Become familiar with the character of income. Portfolio, passive, and ordinary. Learn the ways to change the character of income to your benefit. Learn the ways to change learn the ways to change the character of income. Learn the ways to change the character of income. Learn the ways to change the character of income to your benefit. What she's saying is like, how are you gonna make this valuable to you? How am I gonna make this a tax? I bought this cup of coffee today. It's part of my job. It's work. How do I get this? Learn the ways to change the character of your income to your benefit. I'm gonna steal this book from the library. Because you might read it like learn the ways to change the character of the income to your benefit. This is saying learn the ways to change the character of income to your benefit. Learn the ways to change the character of income to your benefit. The characterization of income is an advanced topic that many CPAs don't even fully comprehend. It is important for a truly comprehensive tax planning strategy to take into account your individual circumstances. That's some voodoo beer. Yet it is important for a truly comprehensive tax planning strategy to take into account your individual circumstances and take advantage of the corporation to change the character of income that you receive. This can free up otherwise lost deductions or accelerate. Suspended or limited losses. This can free up otherwise lost deductions. What do they mean by that? Learn the ways to change the character of income to your benefit. The characterization of income is an advanced topic that many CPAs don't even fully comprehend, yet it is important for a truly comprehensive tax planning strategy to take into account your individual circumstances. It is important for a truly comprehensive tax planning strategy to take into account your individual circumstances and take advantage of the corporation, change the character of income that you receive. This can free up otherwise lost deductions or accelerate suspended or limited losses. Just to really understand what's going on. It is important for a truly comprehensive tax planning strategy to take into account your individual circumstances. It is important for it to be a truly comprehensive tax planning strategy. You need to take into account your individual circumstances and take advantage of the corporation to change the character of income that you receive. I feel like this is only going to make your income be like it's like a balloon. Like how can this be bad? Yet it is important. It is important for a truly comprehensive tax planning strategy to take into account your individual circumstances and take advantage of the corporation to change the character of the income that you receive. Take advantage of the income and change the character of the income that you receive. Don't let them rob you of your taxes. Change the character of that. It's no longer a home that's a burden to me. No, it's a home-based business now. It's a home-based corporation now. No, that's a property I make money off of. I stack my money. I save my money. I pay myself first. I paid all my debts off. I pay my debts. My money grows because my taxes. I have a corporation. I asked for advice. I created a strategy, a a comprehensive tax planning strategy. You know, I know my individual circumstances. My individual circumstances is that I'm poor right now. I want money. I want to prosper. Those are my circumstances, my individual circumstances. And to take advantage of the corporation. Because I am changing the character of the income that I receive. It's mine. It's no longer yours. This can free up otherwise lost deductions or accelerate suspended or limited losses. You want it to accelerate. You want your losses to suspend. You want to have limited losses. You want them to stop. How you can use, see, I would never got that if I didn't slow down. How you can use the golden tax secrets to your advantage. The following information gives you a brief but accurate idea of some of the tax codes that can be used to reduce the taxes you pay. Each of these needs to be applied to your specific situation correctly. Your very awareness of them will help you in this process. Consult with your accountant. If your accountant does not know how to apply them to your situation, ask another accountant. You need to allow the tax codes to work for you. Each of these needs to be applied to your specific situation correctly. Talking about the tax codes, your very awareness of them, your very awareness of the golden tax secrets will help you in the process. Consult with your accountant. If your accountant doesn't know, get another one. If they don't know how to apply these codes to your situation, you need to allow the tax codes to work for you. So get another accountant. Cost of goods. General business deductions. Question. I have a business making... Well, before we get into this cost of goods or how you can use the golden tax secrets to your advantage, let me read this quote because I'm going to get into that. How you can use these golden tax secrets, these golden tax codes to my situation. So let me read. She's going to give us some examples, but let me read this quote. That which we persist in doing becomes easier. Not that the nature of the task has changed, but our ability to do so has increased. That which we persist in doing becomes easier. Not that the nature of the task has changed, but our ability to do so has increased. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Cost of goods, general business deductions. Just general business deductions. Question. I have a business making and selling jewelry. How do I deduct expenses for products that I manufacture? Discussion. First, you need to understand the concept of inventory. As you buy products or parts for an item that you're going to resell, these become part of the assets of the company. They're not an expense and not a deduction until you sell the product. This is a fundamental fact. Yeah, it's an asset for me. But once I sell it, okay, so if I spend money on something to build something to sell, that material that I bought is an asset now. It hasn't become my expense yet until I sell it. Then it becomes an expense once I sell it and I get a deduction from it. Tax trap. Pay attention. Items bought for resale purposes or for the manufacture of an item for resale are inventory. So if I buy a hat, I bought it for resale purposes. Or let's say I bought a hat that was blank and I bought some patches and I'm going to sew my own design on it. That's, items I bought for manufacture. I'm just going to manufacture those together for resale. But they are inventory. It is not a deduction until you sell the product. You can spend a lot of money in your early... So the thing is, if you buy all that shit, it's inventory and an asset, but you can't get no deduction from it. Only what you sell. Because it's all about these only work for a business that's flowing, you know? You could spend a lot of money, now you're just left with all the material. You could spend a lot of money in your early business years building an inventory and not able to deduct any of the expenses in those years. So they low-key become liabilities, low-key. They're not expenses, but they are an asset and a liability, you know what I'm saying? So these expenses called cost of goods. These expenses are called cost of goods, are generally any expenses. Somebody's coming, I noticed my fucking flies down. You could spend a lot of money in your early business years building an inventory and not able to deduct any of the expenses in those years because you didn't sell much. These expenses called cost of goods. So these expenses are called cost of goods. But see, I wonder if he got mixed up because now he's calling them expenses, so he's assuming that we sold these. But in general, he's even though you haven't sold them yet, and it's inventory and it's considered part of the assets of whatever you're manufacturing or whatever you're buying for resale. But he's still calling it an expense, but it's an expense that cannot be deducted yet. So in essence, it still is something you spent, so it is an expense. You know what I'm saying? But these expenses, their cost of goods, are generally any expenses that are directly involved in the product. Ask yourself, if I didn't make this particular product, would I have this expense? If the answer is yes, it is a direct cost. If I didn't make this product, would I have this expense? If the answer is yes, it is a direct cost. If I didn't make this particular product, would I have this expense? If the answer is no, for example, with office expenses, because if it's an office expense, if you didn't have this type of a company, you probably wouldn't have that. And it's not a direct cost. The goal is to minimize the direct cost so that you are not in danger of having to spend money you can't deduct. That's not a direct cost. So office expenses, so you want to minimize direct costs. So you want everything to be around you that you need for your business. So it's kind of about what kind of business do you want to even create for yourself? That's kind of more the better question, you know? What kind of business can you have where everything has to do with your business? Examples of cost of goods would be all merchandise purchased for resale, cartons and other shipping expenses, and parts and labor needed for assembly. How do I get this deduction? These are common deductions for any business. Keep track of your expenses with either a good accounting software package or manual system. Save your canceled checks and invoices because these are common expenses. You do not need to do anything extraordinary, such as adopting a corporate plan. Because these are common expenses, you do not need to do anything extraordinary, such as adopting a corporate plan. Exception: writers, photographers, and artists. Writers, photographers, and artists. There is a special advantage to being a writer, photographer, or artist. You are exempt from uniform capitalization requirements. You're exempt from like typical capitalization requirements. Trying to eliminate that word. You are exempt from uniform. You are exempt from the normal capitalization requirements. What does this mean? This means you are a writer and you want to write a book about travel in Europe. You deduct the expenses of traveling to Europe to research it. Or if you want to paint a picture, you can travel to Europe to look at the architecture or art. However, expenses for producing jewelry, silverware, pottery, furniture, and similar household items are not exempt. Or if you want to paint a picture, you can travel to Europe to look at the architecture or art. However, expenses for producing jewelry exception. I just want to know if, like, even if you're not a writer or nothing, I mean, adopting a corporate plan. I feel like when he's saying such as adopting a corporate plan, he's just saying having to do a little bit more paperwork or a little bit more showing of proof to the IRS that you went to these places or you deducted these things for a real particular reason. Like, instead of, like, because, like, if the IRS sees, all right, well, yeah, your business is fucking jewelry, it shows that you've been buying these different jewelries, these whatever string you put together for the jewelry or whatever, whatever shit you bought to decorate it, to manufacture it, you don't really have to, like, go in depth with your corporate plan. I feel like he was saying that, but then he said, but writers and photographers and artists, they're it's kind of more obvious. It's like, yeah, of course they had to go. They're writing a book on Europe. Of course they went to Europe and talked to people, or they're doing a documentary and they made money off a documentary, and they had to go travel to where the people lived, or the expenses of all that. So tax code, C code 263A, office expense. Question: what expenses can I deduct from my office? What qualifies as my office? Hey, I got my office here in this fucking truck. Discussion: there are really two aspects to this question. The first part refers to the general expenses of running an office, and the second part to the aspects of having a home office. So there are really two aspects to this question. The first part refers to the general expenses of running an office, and the second part to the aspects of having a home office. This second point will be discussed in more detail under special business deductions. I feel like there's a real emphasis on having your own home office. Always keep in mind the basic premise of business deductions. If an expense is necessary or otherwise enhances your business, then it's deductible. If this expense is necessary for your business or it enhances your business, such as buying a tool, or if you have an accounting business, getting a better program, if you're getting a better camera, if you're a cameraman or something. If an expense is necessary or otherwise enhances your business, then it's deductible. Examples of office expenses are letterhead, telephones, paper, pens, calculators, computers, anything that you must have to make your business work. Just like if you're a gardener, you have a work truck, you have your tools, you have your lunch. How do I get this deduction? These are common deductions for any business. Keep track of your expenses with a good manual or computerized accounting system and save your canceled checks and invoices. In the case of the telephone expense, check out the special section on home office deductions to make sure you correctly allocate personal and business usage. In case of the telephone expense, because if you work from home, you have a telephone at home, sometimes you got to decipher what was used for business and what was normal. Check out the even a cell phone, check out the special section on home office deductions. We're going to get there. We're going to read the whole book. Check out the special section on home office deductions to make sure you correctly allocate personal and business usage. Tax code. See the general points of business deduction under Regulation 1.162-1. Tax code. See the general points of business deductions. So if you have the tax code book, see the general points of business deductions. See the general points of business deductions. So they're going to show you the general points of your deductions that you may use in running a business. We got advertising. All right, advertising. Question: can I deduct the cost of printing mailers about my business? What about shirts with my logo? Discussion: advertising costs can be from anything that promotes your business. Yellow page ads, mailers, a logo on the side of your car or your shirt, and the cost of items given away for advertising purposes. Ooh, it makes me think about my friend who has any small businesses. I have a couple friends with small businesses. It makes me think about them because some of them sell t-shirts. Advertising costs can be from anything that promotes your business. Advertising costs can be from anything that promotes your business. Yellow page ads, mailers, a logo on the side of your car, your shirt, and the cost of items given away for advertising purposes. Pencils, pens, calendars, golf putters. But what if you sell a t-shirt with your business on it, but you sell it? Yellow page ads, mailers, a logo on the side of your car. And then, then it also says ads, mailers, a logo on the side of your car, your shirt, and the cost of items given away. So that he kind of separates that for advertising, pencil, something, a little notebook, calendars. Promotional expenses can be very similar to advertising expenses. And to promote something and advertise something. However, advertising targets a specific market. Okay, so advertising targets a specific market, and promotional expenses. So it's different wording, but it's kind of similar. It's just one's more vocal with it, more of a show, something more grand, because advertising just seems like a poster, just something that says your business on it. But promotional expenses could range from putting on a community show to giving a gift to an organization. That seems a little more pricey. Don't spend too much time worrying if a deduction should be an advertising or promotional expense. Just make sure you get the deduction. There you go. Doesn't matter if it's an advertising or promotional expense. Just make sure you get the deduction. How do I get this deduction? Advertising costs are in general very common. However, the subject of uniforms can be more difficult. To prove and subject to question. Yeah, meaning it'd be hard to prove that you really sold these shirts or however, the subject of uniforms, like the subject of how it's put together, the deduction can be more difficult to prove and subject to question. But it says also in this section, we're going to learn that. For this reason, I recommend taking a picture of the logo on the shirt. Keep a copy of the artwork just in case you need to prove the deduction. That's it. Also, as with all deductions, keep track of your expenses and save your canceled checks and invoices. Yeah, keep track of the cost of goods, what you spend on it. Just make sure you know. It's like these people are just making money off the tax dollars, saving off a tax. That's what they're saying. Like all my tax savings, I was flipping that. Charitable contributions and so for this advertising, tax code, see regulation 1.162-1. Now we're on charitable contributions and promotions. So remember, this is somebody who just makes jewelry. Charitable contributions and promotions. Question: can I donate used office equipment to a local shelter and get a deduction? What if I donate my time to help them print a brochure? What does it say? Can I donate used office equipment? Hell yeah, this part's gonna take me like 2 hours probably. It's okay. Maybe I can read some of the fucking, what is it called? Maybe I can read some of the novel. Why not? Might as well. Maybe later. I can keep going with this one. Charitable contributions and promotions. Question: can I donate used office material, or can I donate used office equipment to the local shelter and get a deduction? What if I donate my time to help them print a brochure? Discussion: note that charitable contributions are limited to 10% of your corporation's net income. So you can't, so literally you could fucking contribute to these people all the time and just find a way to make money. So they kind of limit you. However, if you can change the character of the contribution to promotion, instead of it being a charitable contribution, it's a promotion to promote your business. So, for example, say you get free advertising in a newsletter in exchange for a gift, then it's fully deductible and is not subject to the net income rule. However, if you get free advertising in a newsletter in exchange for a gift, you can change the character of the contribution to promotion, then it is fully deductible and is not subject to the net income. So when it says, say you get free advertising in a newsletter in exchange for a gift, meaning if I give them something, they'll give me free advertising in a newsletter, or they gave me free advertising in a newsletter for a gift because they owed me? You know what I'm saying? There can be a fine line between advertising and promotional expenses. As we discussed previously in this chapter, advertising expenses are generally used for targeting specific persons. An example would be printing your logo on pens that go to your customers, whereas promotional expenses are larger. Yeah, like a book signing, or something like a free giveaway, don't worry too much about this distinction. Promotional expenses are far more larger organized activities, but don't worry too much about this distinction. Since we are discussing charitable donations, let's clarify a commonly misunderstood point. You can take a deduction for the cost of items that you contribute, or you can take a deduction for the fair market value. You can take a deduction for the cost of items that you contribute. You can take a deduction for the cost of items, or you can take a deduction for the fair market value. Okay, so you can take a deduction for the cost of items that you give to somebody. So whatever that was worth, I'm gonna get a deduction off of it. Or you can take a deduction for the fair market value of an appreciated asset. I feel like the first one is like, you could just say what you think their cost, or you could, but if I read it plainly, this is what he's saying. You can take a deduction for the cost of items that you contribute. But how do you know the cost? I feel like, okay, so you can take a deduction from the original cost, or you can take a deduction for the fair market value. Get an appraisal first. You can take a deduction for the fair market value of an appreciated asset. Is he telling us that to see it in two different ways? You could see it in two different ways, but you cannot take a deduction for your time. Like if I give somebody free labor, you can't get a deduction for that. You must first have an expense. Yeah, you have to sell something first before you can take a deduction. Or you must giving something away, you could get a deduction from it. I would say, in other words, if you donate paper to your church, you have incurred an expense. You bought the paper, but if you're an accountant, you cannot take a deduction for your volunteer time balancing their checkbook. Yeah, no actual expense other than your time. You can bill and be paid for your time and make an equivalent contribution that is deductible. Okay, so you can bill and be paid for your time. So what is he saying right here? You had no actual expense other than your time, which that makes sense. You can bill and be paid for your time. That'd be working for them. But so he says you can bill and be paid for your time and make an equivalent contribution that is deductible. Is he saying with that same money they gave you, just contribute it back and get deducted that way? Or is you're just simply going to get taxed off of, or just get taxed off of what you made? It would just seem like it would be the same if I worked for them. But I mean, I don't know. I guess it's just the chain of command you have to follow. You know, I didn't set it up. How do I get this deduction? As always, track expenses with a good accounting system and save canceled checks and invoices. If you give an appreciated asset such as artwork, get an independent appraisal of the value. So if you're going to give something away, get a value of it, so you can also get a deduction. You get a proper deduction. I also recommend and these are called appreciated assets. So they're not going to lose value. How can they lose value? They get over time. So if you contribute an appreciated asset such as artwork, get an independent appraisal of value. If you contribute an appreciated asset, if you give away an appreciated asset such as artwork, for example, get an independent appraisal of value. I also recommend keeping proof or deductions that you want to prove are promotional. I also recommend keeping proof or keeping deductions that you want to prove are for promotional, not charitable. For example, a client of mine donated some used office equipment from her business in exchange for a promotion in the nonprofit organization's newsletter. Okay, now I get it. So if I also recommend keeping proof of deductions that you want to prove promotional, not charitable. For example, a client of mine donated some used office equipment for her business from her business in exchange for promotion in nonprofit organization's newsletter. She kept a copy of the newsletter. This proves she donated the items for promotional reasons and then can take a full deduction. The alternative would have been to get charitable contribution deduction, which would have been limited depending on her company's income level. It's supposed to be 10%, remember? What you make from contributions can only be 10%. That makes sense. So it's like me I don't know what would my business be? Like whatever my business is, like I'm not really even quite sure, to be real. I'm trying to give an example for myself. It's like, it could be as simple as if you give someone a tattoo that owns a magazine, and that tattoo was to get on his tattoo. So look at so used off from her business in exchange for promotion in the non-profit organization news. She kept a copy of the newsletter. This proves she donated the items for promotional reasons, so she could take a full deduction off the tattoo, like what you would charge for the tattoo and the time it took you based off of that. And it was all to get on that person who I gave the tattoo to get on his tattoo magazine. You know what I'm saying? He has a business, or not even that. If I gave him a tattoo, so but it has to be promotional, right? It has to be promotional. It can't be how does that promote your business, you know? It has to be able to promote your business. So if I exchange something of my business, like if I give you a book, if my business is reading books and I gave you a fucking book for in exchange to promote my business in sort of way, in order to be part of your newspaper or something, that can be considered a promotional expense and not a contribution, you know? But if you're going to contribute an appreciated asset, like a painting or something that doesn't lose value but gains value over time, then you got to get a real good appraisal for that to see how much it's worth, so that way you get a deduction properly, you know? This proves she donated the items for promotional reasons and can then take a full deduction. This alternative would have been to get charitable contribution deduction, which would have been limited depending on her company's income level. Tax code C, code 170B2, and regulation 1.170A-11. Uniforms. Question: can I deduct my work clothes? Discussion: there was an old accountant's joke that the answer to every client's question should be, it depends. In this case, it depends. The cost and upkeep of a uniform, including dry cleaning and laundry, is deductible only if the uniform is required as a condition of employment and is not adaptable to general wear. This means that for most of us, our work clothes are not deductible because most are adaptable to general wear. However, if you have a business that would lend itself to a logo, and most would, then you have to create a unique uniform that is deductible. How do I get this deduction? Be sure that the uniform you have is a condition of employment by having a written policy that requires wearing the uniform, and make sure it is not adaptable to general wear by putting a logo on the shirt. So we put a logo on it, it's not adaptable to general wear. But you have to have a company policy saying that it's required. If you have a profession in which you do wear uniforms that get simply too stained or dirty to wear for general wear, such as a painter or drywaller, then this deduction is an easy one for you. So if you're like a plumber or construction, so like your boots, anything that wears out, glasses you buy, any type of vest you get that get old and stuff. And as for all deductions, keep track of your expenses and save canceled checks and invoices. I feel like canceled checks are the receipt of the check. You know, when you sign a check, you're supposed to sign the back of the checkbook of like your receipt of the check. Tax code C Reg 1.62-2 CP2-284. So let's go back to the close thing again. Let's get that verbiage. Be sure that uniform is not adaptable to general wear. It can't just be like, I could go to work, it looks like I go to work and I could go to fucking eat somewhere, and it's not adaptable. It's like, all right, that guy's a mailman. You know what I'm saying? That guy's a mailman. So the corporation of the mail service, I'm sure they're are getting deductibles for all that. I don't know how far I'm gonna get there, man. I've been reading a lot. Actually, I'm silly, like, cause like I'm on page 47. This goes all the way to 68, and it's been taking me forever just to get these past almost 10 pages. It's almost an hour already, so I might have to do this in 2 parts, don't you think? Where should I get to? She's going through a whole how to run your business and all these questions, so this is a really, really critical part. Yeah, so I'm gonna end it there. This is still section 2, chapter 3. It's just the first part of it. Peace, y'all.